All right, hi, welcome back. I'm assuming that you watched video 1 and you have a good overview of program 10. So now it's time to get started. So I'm going to launch Visual Studio. I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to create an empty project. I'm going to put it on my desktop. What do I usually name these projects? Let me see. I think it's just Program 5, Spring 2021. Okay. So this is going to be Program 10, Spring 2021. Create my project. Then I go to Project, Add New Item. And the source code is going to be sorgente _ prog. Follow the instructions, but that's what I think it is. And now I'm going to paste the template code in here. All right, so let's just take a look here at the template code. I've gone ahead here and I entered the size. The size of the list will be up to 150. The size for the character arrays, which is called size 2, will be size 20. I did not add the function prototype, so you need to add the function prototypes here, and then you need to implement the program. So I did add some help here with the function definitions, but in order to get this to work, you need to put the function prototypes at the top. So I think the first thing I want to do to get started is I'm going to put the function prototypes up there. So the first function is the greeting function. So I'm going to go ahead and move that up here. So again, I didn't add them because I want you to take the time and read them. This function is the function that just greets the user. The next function, I think there are 8 functions. This is the run menu function. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one up here. And add the semicolon. All right, so this is the run menu function. The next function is the process selection function. So I'm going to go ahead and put this prototype up here. Don't forget to put the semicolon. So now we have 3 of the 8 functions. The next one is add transaction function. Add the semicolon. And after we add the transaction, we are going to set the price. Semicolon, and almost done. I think I have to print it and the search one. So, we got to calculate the total, then print it, and then search. We have the print function, print the entire list function. And we also have the search, print the E85 function. All right, so I moved all the function prototypes up here, and now I'm going to start to do some implementation. All right, whoops. All right, it's still not going to compile because there's all kinds of issues here. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually, everywhere that there's a red squiggly line, I'm going to comment it out. So this one doesn't have any. This has a red squiggly line here. I'm just going to go through because I want to get my code to compile. And so I'm just putting comments in. These are just printfs. And These are red squiggly lines. Perfect. So again, you can use your own whatever you want to do, but I'm deciding to get rid of all errors and kind of reverse engineer this. It would be better if you guys could start from scratch and write all the code, but I certainly am happy if you're using my template. So I'm not sure what that, okay, so the only other error I think I have now is my declaration of my struct, which I need to declare my struct here. So my struct needs to have the fields in it. It's going to have, let's look at the instructions. It's going to have a gas type, a last name, an item number. Actually, I'm just gonna take this off of here. So it's going to have a last name, an item number. I'm just doing this in Notepad because it's very easy to. All right, so these are the variables or the fields that are going to be in my struct. So I'm going to go ahead and add them here. All right, so gas type is going to be a character array. So I need the data type char, and it's going to be size 2 because I said to use size 2 for the character arrays. I don't think we have any gas types that are larger than size 20. The last name is going to be also a character array, same size. The item number is an integer. The number of gallons is an integer. The price per gallon is a double. And the total cost is a double. Now, I have now defined my struct. It has 2 character arrays, 2 integers, and 2 doubles. And now my code should not have any errors. It shouldn't do anything, but it should at least build. So it built, and if I run it, it doesn't do anything because I haven't implemented anything. All right, so the first thing I'm going to implement is my greeting function. I'm going to go down here and implement my greeting function. That's always the first thing I like to do. Of course, your greeting function is going to have a lot more information than mine, but I'm going to say welcome. You should take a look at the sample output, and your greeting should actually, give a lot more information than just welcome. But now I'm going to, there's my definition for my greeting function, and my greeting function will be called here from the main function. So I've made a change, so now it's time to test it. Welcome. Perfect. Again, be sure that your greeting function is much better than mine. All right, so now I'm telling you what you need to do here. You need to declare your gas purchase list. So my new data type is called gas purchase. So I'm going to declare an array of them. That's my new data type. I'm going to name the array list, and it's going to be size 150. You're not going to put 150 in it. It's going to take forever. But now I have an array of gas purchases called list. We had an array of structs in program 9, so I had you practice doing that in program 9, and now I have an array here. Okay, so I have this gas list, and the name of my new data type is gas purchase. The name of the array is list, and its size is 150. Now my list is empty, so I'm going to have an integer called count, and it's empty. All right, so now I'm going to declare a character for my menu choice. I'm going to call it choice. You can call it whatever you want. All right, so now I have a loop. This loop is going to it's going to run as long as the user does not enter Q. But I need to use the menu choice function. So let's go down and implement our menu choice function, and then we will continue from there. All right, so this right here in this menu choice function, it's going to say, what would you like to do? And then I'm going to add enter A, P, S, or Q to quit. All right, so let me just explain though that this is not okay. You can't just do what I did here. You need to go back to the assignment. You need to look at the sample output, and you need to see by looking at the sample output that the welcome is very nice, and it explains about the different types of gas and everything and what's going to happen. And then here it says, it doesn't say what do you want to do, A, P, S, or Q. It actually has a lot better explanation to the user. I just don't want you to have to sit here and watch me type that. Okay, so then I'm just gonna go printf, oops, enter your selection, and then scanf. All right, so I'm getting a character, so it's going to be %C, and it's going to go in here into selection pointer, so I do not need to have an ampersand. And then I want to change it to lowercase, so I'm going to take the value at, I think you guys just did this on your second exam. Use the 2 lower or 2 upper, doesn't matter. But I want to change it so I only have to deal with one case. I have to make sure that I use the value at. So this function is just going to display the selections nicely, not the way I did it. Get the selection from the user and change it to lowercase. So now I can call this function and test to make sure that it works. So the way that I would call this function would be, the name of the function is run menu. And it's going to take a input-output parameter or a pointer, and I can take my variable called choice and turn it into an address by putting the ampersand in front of it. And let's see now if it works. What would you like? Enter. I enter an A, and it ends. And that's exactly what I expected it to do because I haven't continued on with my program. All right, so here I have a loop. In this loop is going to continue until the user enters Q. So as long as the user did not enter Q, so as long as choice does not equal, don't forget your single quotes, Q, I'm going to continue. But if the user, oh gosh, what did I do here? But if the user enters Q, it's going to stop and end the program, right? And then I need to also update in here because I'll have an infinite loop if I don't, and I'm just going to update by running the menu again. So I'm going to, initialization will be running the menu. If the user enters Q, it's going to stop right away. If the user enters anything else but Q, it's going to go again. So let's test it. First, we'll test it by entering Q. It should quit. Then we'll test again by entering other letters. A, S, 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 A, B, Q, and it quits. So now I know that that's working right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to process the selection. So I have a function for that. So I'm going to go down here to my process selection function. And I've given you some tips to help you get started. So if the user selected A, then you're going to tell the user they selected A, get the customer last name, and call the get the add transaction function. Okay? So the other options are, if they select A, there's not tons of options here. So the other options are, if I'm going to use else if the user enters P, out of selections A, P, S, or Q. So there's only a couple. If the user enters P, then I'm going to tell them that they selected P, and I'm going to call the print function. And then I have one more. Else, if the user enters S, I'm going to tell them they entered S. Okay, this is called a print function. Let's see the name of the function. The name of this function is print list. Actually, I can remember that one. I can't remember this one. Okay. So if the user selects A, I'm going to add a transaction. If the user selects P, I'm going to call the print list function. And if you notice, I'm doing one thing at a time and testing. Then I'm going to call the other function. And else, printf, that is not an option. All right, so this might cause a problem because I have my list here. So let's see if it's going to cause a problem. Oh, it's just going to say enter the customer's name. I don't have that. So if they select A, it's just going to say this is what you selected, enter the customer's name, and tell you how many are in there. It's going to be 0 because I haven't added anything. If they enter P, they're going to say you selected P. If they enter S, they're going to say you selected S. And if they enter anything else, it's going to say that is not an option. All right, so this process selection function should be working. It has 3 parameters. One, it makes a copy or pass by value the selection. It makes a copy of the selection. It also takes the list as its argument, and it takes the address of the count. All right, so let's go and try to call this function. So this function is going to take, the first thing it takes is a character. We have that. It's called choice. The second thing it takes is a gas purchase array. We do have a gas purchase array called list. And the third thing it takes is the address of an integer, and we do have that. We are going to pass the address of count. So now it should work, and let's try it with a couple of different inputs. And my main function is now done, and I'm offloading all the work from my main function. So what would I like to do? A. You entered A, you're going to enter there's 0, A. There's still 0. Obviously, there's going to be 0 because I haven't finished that part of it yet. All right, let's see if I enter S, you entered S. If I enter F, not an option. If I enter P, that works. If I enter Q, it quits. All right, so this is good. We got this much done, and in the next video, we're going to start adding to our list.